The famous name, Pat Sajak, has been the heart and soul of Wheel of Fortune, bringing his signature charm, sharp wit, and effortless charisma to television screens across America for more than 4 decades. What began as a simple word puzzle game evolved into a cultural institution, thanks in large part to his warm and engaging presence. But as all great eras must come to an end, Pat Sajak has finally decided to step away from the iconic wheel, leaving fans wondering, why now? What led to this decision, and what will his legacy be? Let's take a deep dive into the incredible life of Pat Sajak, his legendary run on Wheel of Fortune, and the real reason behind his retirement. Growing up in Chicago, you know him as the smooth, quick-witted host of Wheel of Fortune. But before Pat Sajak became a game show legend, he was just a kid from Chicago with a love for broadcasting. Pat Sajak, born Patrick Leonard Sajak, came into the world on October 26, 1946, in Chicago, Illinois. His family was of Polish descent, and like many working-class families at the time, they lived a modest life. His father, Leonard Sajak, worked long hours in a factory, while his mother, Joyce Helen Brandecka, took care of the family. They weren't wealthy, but they got by with hard work, determination, and resilience, values that Pat would carry with him throughout his life. Pat grew up on the south side of Chicago, an area known for its strong sense of community and hard-working families. The city was bustling, yet life wasn't always easy for the Sajak family. The South Side in the 1950s was a mix of industry, culture, and working-class neighborhoods, and Pat was right in the middle of it all. His childhood wasn't filled with luxury, but it was rich in character-building experiences. Tragedy struck when Pat was still young. His father passed away, leaving his mother to raise him on her own. Losing a parent at such an early age was tough, but Pat learned to adapt and push forward. His mother later remarried, and Pat had to navigate life in a blended family. This wasn't always easy, but it helped shape his quick wit and ability to connect with people, a skill that would serve him well later in life. Falling in love with radio. From an early age, Pat was obsessed with radio. He loved listening to the voices that came through the speakers, fascinated by how radio hosts could command an audience using just their words. Whether it was news, music, or storytelling, young Pat paid close attention to how DJs and announcers kept listeners entertained. He wasn't just a passive listener, he was studying the craft, unknowingly preparing for his future career. He would spend hours listening to his favorite radio shows, mimicking the voices of announcers and imagining himself as the one behind the microphone. In his heart, he knew this wasn't just a passing interest, it was his calling. High school years, the class entertainer. Pat attended Farragut High School, a school in Chicago known for producing talented and hardworking students. He wasn't necessarily the class clown, but he was known for his sharp sense of humor and ability to entertain. While some kids were thinking about sports or hanging out, Pat was thinking about broadcasting. By the time he graduated in 1964, he knew exactly what he wanted to do: work in radio and television. After graduating from Farragut High School in 1964, Pat took his first step toward his dream by enrolling at Columbia College Chicago, a school known for its strong broadcasting program. But like many college students, he needed to work to support himself. His first job? Working the front desk at the Palmer House Hotel, one of Chicago's most historic and prestigious hotels. It wasn't glamorous, but Pat didn't mind. He was meeting new people every day, developing strong communication skills, and learning how to interact with all types of personalities, something that would later make him an excellent TV host. But even as he worked long shifts, he never lost sight of his dream of getting behind a microphone. Imagine that. Before he was hosting Wheel of Fortune, he was checking people into their hotel rooms. While this wasn't his dream job, it helped him develop strong communication skills and the ability to interact with all types of people, an essential skill for any future TV host. Pat's persistence paid off when he landed a job as a radio announcer for a local station in Chicago. It was a small gig, but to him, it was everything. Finally, he was on the air. He had spent years dreaming of this moment, and now he was officially in the broadcasting world. This first taste of success only fueled his ambition further. He knew he had the talent, but he also knew he had a long way to go. And then, fate intervened. The Vietnam War. As Pat was working hard to build his career, the Vietnam War was in full swing. Like many young men of his generation, Pat was drafted into the U.S. Army. But instead of heading straight into combat, he was given a surprising assignment: DJ for the American Forces Vietnam Network. That's right, Pat Sajak became the real-life version of Robin Williams' character in Good Morning Vietnam. Every morning, Pat greeted the troops with his famous, enthusiastic, "Good Morning Vietnam." His job was to boost morale, play music, and bring a bit of home to soldiers stationed thousands of miles away. It was an incredible experience that allowed him to hone his skills as a broadcaster while making a real impact. Sajak's journey as a radio DJ in Nashville, the start of a legendary career. After returning home from his service in the U.S. Army, where he had spent time as a radio DJ for the American Forces Vietnam Network, Pat Sajak knew one thing for certain: he belonged behind a microphone. His experience entertaining the troops had given him invaluable broadcasting skills. And now, he was ready to take his passion for radio to the next level. But like many aspiring broadcasters, he needed to find the right opportunity. That opportunity came in the form of a radio DJ job in Nashville, Tennessee, a city famous for its deep-rooted connection to music and entertainment. It was here that Pat truly stepped into the world of professional broadcasting, setting the stage for his future success in television. Nashville, often referred to as Music City, USA, was an exciting place for a young broadcaster like Pat. The city was a hub for country music, rock and roll, and everything in between. Radio was king, and DJs were larger-than-life personalities who had the power to shape music trends and entertain massive audiences. Pat landed a job at WSM, a prominent Nashville radio station, and immediately began making a name for himself. While he wasn't a household name yet, listeners quickly took notice of his smooth voice, quick wit, and natural charisma. Unlike some DJs who relied solely on music, Pat had a way of connecting with his audience through humor, storytelling, and genuine personality, a skill that would later become his signature on Wheel of Fortune. Being a radio DJ in the 1970s wasn't just about playing hit records, it was about creating an experience. Whether it was introducing the latest Elvis Presley track, cracking jokes in between songs, or taking live calls from listeners, Pat understood that radio was about building a relationship with the audience. He wasn't just reading off scripts or pressing buttons. He was engaging, entertaining, and making people feel like they were listening to a friend. His ability to keep listeners hooked with his voice and humor was undeniable. In an era where radio personalities were the rock stars of the airwaves, Pat Sajak was proving that he had the talent and charm to be one of the best. Working in Nashville also exposed Pat to the fast-paced world of media, teaching him valuable lessons about the industry. He learned how to handle live broadcasting, how to adapt on the fly, and how to keep audiences entertained even when things didn't go as planned. These skills would later prove essential when he transitioned to television. His time at WSM Radio wasn't just a job, it was a training ground for his future success. While Nashville was a great starting point, Pat had even bigger dreams. He knew that if he wanted to take the next step, he had to move into television, and soon that opportunity would come knocking. How Pat Sajak landed the job of a lifetime on Wheel of Fortune. Meanwhile, Pat Sajak's journey to becoming the host of Wheel of Fortune wasn't an overnight success story. It was a combination of talent, perseverance, and a little bit of luck. By the late 1970s, Sajak had already made a name for himself as a radio DJ and weatherman, and while he was comfortable in front of the camera, he wasn't yet a household name. But all of that was about to change when one of the most successful game show creators of all time, Merv Griffin, took notice of him and saw something special. The road to hosting Wheel of Fortune wasn't easy, and it involved more than just showing up for an audition. It was a career-defining moment that transformed Sajak from a local TV personality into a national icon. By the time Wheel of Fortune was launched in 1975, game shows were a staple of daytime television. Created by Merv Griffin, who had also created Jeopardy, the show was a simple yet engaging word puzzle game that quickly gained popularity. The original host, Chuck Woolery, was the face of the show for its first 6 years. Woolery had helped establish Wheel of Fortune as a successful program, but in 1981, contract disputes over salary led to his departure. This left a crucial vacancy. Griffin needed a new host, someone who could bring energy, charisma, and a relatable charm to the show. Enter Pat Sajak. At the time, Pat Sajak was working as a weatherman for KNBC TV in Los Angeles. He had a growing fan base due to his quick-witted humor and effortless delivery. Unlike most TV weathermen, Sajak had a knack for injecting fun into his broadcasts, often making lighthearted jokes while giving the forecast. This unique style caught the attention of Merv Griffin, who was on the hunt for a fresh face to take over Wheel of Fortune. When Griffin saw Sajak on the air, he knew he had found the perfect candidate. Pat's ability to think on his feet, his friendly on-camera presence, and his ability to engage an audience without overshadowing the contestants made him an ideal fit for a game show host. But getting the job wasn't that simple. When Merv Griffin first approached NBC executives with the idea of hiring Pat Sajak, he was met with resistance. Network executives weren't convinced that Sajak, a weatherman with no prior game show experience, was the right choice to lead one of their most successful shows. They wanted a more established TV personality, someone with a background in game shows. But Griffin, being the influential and determined producer that he was, didn't back down. He refused to hire anyone else, insisting that Pat was the right man for the job. In fact, he reportedly told the network, "It's Pat Sajak, or we cancel the show." That bold move left NBC with little choice but to agree. And in 1981, Pat Sajak was officially announced as the new host of Wheel of Fortune. When Sajak stepped onto the set for his first episode, he knew he had big shoes to fill. Chuck Woolery had built a loyal fan base, and changing a well-loved host always came with risks. But Sajak quickly made the show his own. His natural ability to connect with contestants, his easygoing demeanor, and his signature sense of humor helped ease the transition. He wasn't just reading cue cards, he was engaging, personable, and genuinely having fun. That authenticity resonated with audiences, and it didn't take long for viewers to embrace him as the new face of the show. One of the reasons for Sajak's long-lasting success on Wheel of Fortune is his chemistry with co-host Vanna White. White joined the show in 1982, just a year after Sajak, and the two quickly became one of television's most beloved duos. Their friendly banter, lighthearted jokes, and natural camaraderie made the show feel warm and inviting. They weren't just hosting a game, they were creating an experience that felt like family entertainment. Viewers tuned in not only to see the contestants solve puzzles, but also to enjoy the interactions between Pat and Vanna. Their chemistry played a crucial role in making Wheel of Fortune one of the most enduring and beloved game shows in history. As the show gained more popularity, Pat Sajak became a household name. He was no longer just a weatherman or a former radio DJ, he was a TV icon. His hosting style was unique in that he never overshadowed the contestants. Instead, he made them feel comfortable, allowing their personalities to shine while still keeping the show engaging. His quick wit and humorous reactions to contestants' answers often led to some of the most memorable moments in Wheel of Fortune history. Despite the overwhelming success, Sajak briefly stepped away from the daytime version of Wheel of Fortune in 1989 to pursue other opportunities, including hosting his own late-night talk show, The Pat Sajak Show. Unfortunately, his talk show struggled to compete with the likes of Johnny Carson's The Tonight Show and was canceled after just over a year. However, Sajak remained the host of the syndicated nighttime version of Wheel of Fortune, where he continued to dominate as one of America's favorite game show hosts. This version of the show, which aired in primetime slots across the country, became the definitive version that solidified Sajak's place in television history. Pat Sajak and the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Beyond his legendary role on Wheel of Fortune, Pat Sajak also made an impact as a host of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. In the 1980s, Sajak was tapped to co-host the annual holiday spectacle, one of the most beloved traditions in American television. His natural charisma, smooth delivery, and ability to engage audiences with warmth and humor made him a perfect fit for the job. During his time hosting, Sajak helped narrate the parade's most iconic moments, from the giant balloon floats soaring through the streets of New York City to performances by Broadway stars and musical artists. His role in the event showcased another side of his television talents. Beyond game shows, he was a versatile host capable of entertaining millions in a completely different setting. While his tenure as a parade host was brief, it remains a testament to his widespread influence in American entertainment. Pat Sajak's controversial, political, and social views. Over the years, Pat made headlines for his political and social views, which have sparked plenty of discussion. Unlike many of his peers in Hollywood, Pat isn't shy about expressing his opinions, particularly when it comes to politics. He's generally described as a libertarian, holding views that emphasize personal freedom, minimal government intervention, and a pragmatic approach to issues. For example, Sajak has been critical of government overreach and has often made comments about the increasing role of government in people's lives, especially in the context of taxes and regulation. He's also spoken out against what he sees as a growing culture of political correctness, expressing concerns over how it limits free speech and stifles open dialogue. In 2014, he famously took to Twitter to share his thoughts on the topic, saying, "If you want to be a free person, you must be willing to offend someone." His blunt, no-nonsense approach to discussing sensitive issues often catches the public off guard, but it's also earned him a dedicated following of people who appreciate his willingness to speak his mind. On the social side, Sajak has consistently supported a variety of causes, including animal rights, education, and the military. Despite his straightforward political views, he often avoids using his platform on Wheel of Fortune to push any agenda, maintaining a level of neutrality on air. This balanced approach, mixing candidness with discretion, has contributed to his lasting popularity. While his political views may not align with everyone, Pat Sajak's openness and willingness to engage in tough conversations have cemented his place as a respected voice in the public sphere. His unfiltered thoughts on politics and society continue to make him a fascinating figure in American culture. Pat Sajak and Vanna White on Wheel of Fortune romance rumors. For decades, the relationship between Pat Sajak and Vanna White has been one of the most talked about topics in television, largely due to the undeniable chemistry they share on screen as co-hosts of Wheel of Fortune. While the duo has always maintained a professional relationship, rumors about a potential romantic involvement have persistently swirled, sparking curiosity and speculation among fans and media outlets alike. These rumors began circulating in the 1980s when Pat and Vanna first became a household name. Their playful banter and seamless partnership on the show led many to believe there was something more than friendship at play. Viewers often remarked on their apparent closeness, and media outlets, always eager to sensationalize a story, began fueling the gossip. Some even speculated that there were off-camera moments that suggested a romantic connection. However, Pat and Vanna have both publicly denied these rumors, emphasizing their deep friendship and mutual respect. In interviews over the years, Pat Sajak has been clear about the nature of his relationship with Vanna. He's referred to her as a close friend and praised her work ethic and professionalism. Vanna has echoed similar sentiments, stating that their relationship is purely platonic and that they share a bond built on trust and camaraderie. Yet the persistent rumors never fully disappeared, and at times the speculation became even more intense. Over the years, this speculation has occasionally resurfaced, especially when one of them goes through a personal life change, or when the public becomes hungry for new content surrounding the iconic duo. Interestingly, some have pointed to the long hours they've spent together while filming Wheel of Fortune, and the way they interact off-camera as evidence of a deeper connection. The public's fascination with their dynamic is understandable. After all, they've been co-hosting together for over 40 years. But despite the whispers, both Pat and Vanna have remained steadfast in their commitment to keeping their personal lives private. Ultimately, it's clear that Pat Sajak and Vanna White's relationship is one built on friendship and mutual respect. Whether or not the rumors continue, their enduring partnership on Wheel of Fortune speaks for itself, showcasing a level of professionalism and trust that has stood the test of time. Fans will likely continue to be intrigued by the duo, but the reality is they're just good friends and co-workers who happen to have incredible on-screen chemistry. Pat's marriages and personal life outside entertainment. Pat Sajak's personal life has also seen significant chapters. His first marriage was to Cheryl Sajak, but unfortunately the relationship ended in divorce. However, Sajak later found love again and married Leslie Brown in 1989. The couple built a strong and lasting marriage, raising a family together while Sajak continued his legendary television career. Beyond his television career, Pat Sajak's personal life and interests paint a picture of a well-rounded and passionate individual. He and his wife Leslie Brown have 2 children, Patrick and Maggie Sajak, with Maggie following in his footsteps by pursuing a career in entertainment. Sajak is also a huge sports fan, particularly of baseball, and is known for his support of the Washington Nationals. In his free time, he enjoys writing, playing golf, and engaging in political discussions. A strong advocate for American values, he has often spoken about his admiration for the U.S. Constitution and conservative principles. With a net worth of approximately $75 million, Sajak has not only achieved financial success, but has also left a lasting impact on television and beyond. His combination of intellect, humor, and business acumen continues to make him one of the most respected figures in entertainment. Pat Sajak, 2024 Controversy and Abbott Elementary Portrayal. In 2024, Pat Sajak found himself at the center of a brief controversy after a comment he made on-air sparked debate. During a Wheel of Fortune episode, his remark was perceived as insensitive by some viewers, leading to backlash on social media. Around the same time, Abbott Elementary humorously parodied Pat and Vanna White's iconic chemistry, drawing attention to the long-standing public fascination with their relationship. Despite the controversy, Sajak's reputation remains largely untarnished, with many appreciating his decades-long career and his ability to handle criticism with humor and grace, as showcased both on and off the screen. Pat Sajak's retirement from Wheel of Fortune and the future of the show. In 2023, Pat Sajak made a bittersweet announcement that shook the world of television. He would be retiring from hosting Wheel of Fortune after more than 40 years. As one of the most recognizable and beloved figures in game show history, Sajak's departure marked the end of an era. He first shared the news in a heartfelt Twitter post, writing, "Well, the time has come. I've decided that our 41st season, which begins in September, will be my last. It's been a wonderful ride, and I'll have more to say in the coming months. Thank you all so very much." His words resonated deeply with fans, many of whom had grown up watching him on their television screens every evening. The news quickly went viral, sparking an outpouring of tributes from celebrities, longtime viewers, and even his own co-host, Vanna White. Vanna White, Sajak's trusted partner on the show for over 4 decades, also took to Twitter to express her emotions about his retirement. She posted a heartfelt message saying, "When we started this journey together, we could never have imagined this incredible ride. You've been like a brother to me, and I will cherish every moment we've shared. I can't imagine Wheel of Fortune without you." White's message emphasized the deep bond and friendship the two shared, making it clear that Sajak's presence on the show would be irreplaceable. Their partnership was more than just professional. It was a genuine connection that became a core part of the show's magic. As Sajak's retirement announcement spread, speculation about his replacement quickly became a hot topic. One of the biggest rumors circulating was that his daughter, Macy Sajak, might take over hosting duties. Macy, who has occasionally appeared on the show as a social correspondent and guest letter-turner, has been involved with Wheel of Fortune in various ways, leading fans to wonder if she was being groomed to step into her father's shoes. However, no official statement confirmed this theory, and Sajak himself remained quiet about who he thought should take over. In interviews, he often joked about his retirement, saying, "Someone else will take the wheel, and I just hope they don't run it into a ditch." While Macy Sajak has a strong connection to the show and its legacy, many names, including Ryan Seacrest and other well-known television personalities, were also rumored to be potential candidates for the role. Despite stepping away from the main hosting position, Sajak hinted that he would still be involved with the show in some capacity behind the scenes. He reassured fans that Wheel of Fortune would continue to thrive, saying, "The show will go on, and I know it will be in good hands." His retirement didn't just signal a career milestone, it also reminded fans of the incredible impact he has had on television and pop culture. Over 4 decades, he has brought laughter, warmth, and consistency to millions of households, making Wheel of Fortune more than just a game show. It became a comforting tradition for families across America. Why is Pat Sajak retiring? The real reason behind his decision. After more than 4 decades of hosting Wheel of Fortune, Pat Sajak has decided to retire. But why now? What's the real reason behind his decision? Well, in an interview with Entertainment Tonight, Sajak explained, "It's been a great ride, but the time has come. I'd rather leave a couple of years too early than a couple of years too late." At 77 years old, Sajak believes it's the perfect time to step away while still at the top of his game, rather than overstaying his welcome. But it's not just about timing. Sajak has also mentioned that he wants to spend more time with his family, focus on personal projects, and even explore writing and philanthropy. He's hinted that while he's leaving the host's chair, he may still have some involvement behind the scenes. In one interview, he joked, "I might just show up in the audience and heckle the new host." Classic Pat Sajak humor. In another interview, Sajak reflected on his time with Wheel of Fortune, saying, "It's been an incredible privilege to be welcomed into millions of homes every night. I never took it for granted, and I always wanted to make sure the show remained fun and enjoyable for everyone." His words make it clear that his decision wasn't made lightly. He simply felt it was time for a new chapter in his life. Fans everywhere are wondering, who will take over? Some believe his daughter, Macy Sajak, could be a contender, but that remains a rumor. Names like Ryan Seacrest and other TV personalities have also been thrown into the mix. But now we want to hear from you. Do you think Wheel of Fortune will ever be the same without Pat Sajak?